In this podcast, I'd like to share with you some reflections on the topic of burnout. Several years ago, I was visited with a recurring dream. In the dream, I was trapped in the elevator at the school where I was working. No matter how many times I pressed the help button, nothing happened. Then I would hear the voice of the operator say, "Mr. Pinter, we know you're in there, and there's nothing that can be done to help you." I would wake up feeling frightened and frustrated. I can see now that this dream was my soul's way of warning me that I was burned out and in dangerous territory, physically and spiritually. I was grateful for the dream because it helped me to discern that I needed to dedicate time to taking care of myself and also consider changes I might need to make to put myself back on a more sustainable path. When the school year ended, I was able to move on to different work. Burnout can be defined as spiritual, physical, or emotional depletion resulting from a life situation, whether it's school or a job or a family dynamic, that is depleting, unsatisfying, and creates a sense of despair. Burnout might also afflict us when we are working to receive a desired response or result, and we don't receive it. This can happen, for example, when we volunteer to serve those in need, or we invest a lot of time and effort into some cause, but no one recognizes it or acknowledges it. And it seems that the harder we work, the less change there is. It's like we're running on a treadmill. We feel a loss of control and agency when burnout comes upon us. That is, I feel like I have become an object that is used and not a person. Or I might feel like I'm just a machine that keeps grinding on. We feel trapped, unable to change this distressing situation. Symptoms of burnout include the following, and I think it's helpful to note that we will all experience some of these occasionally, but if these or a combination of them are persistent, then we might want to pay attention. Physical and mental exhaustion, a sense of dread about school or work, feelings of anger, cynicism, hopelessness, anxiety, and irritability, a sense that I can no longer do my work effectively, chronic fatigue, insomnia, difficulty concentrating, loss of enjoyment of things that you used to enjoy. Sometimes a sense of pessimism sets in. We feel we really can't count on anyone, and we assume that people's intentions are negative, and we might become more easily annoyed with others. We also might isolate, avoid other people, and detach from our environment. You might find yourself doing just the bare minimum. We tell ourselves, "I'll do what is good enough to get by." There is a feeling of dread about the role we are in, and we force ourselves to continue out of a sense of obligation. Or we might find ourselves fantasizing about running away and starting over. So what's going on here? When we feel burnout, we are being called by the soul to pay attention because something is out of alignment. My life, as I am living it, is out of sync with my soul. We have not been giving adequate attention to what is going on inside, and so the soul stages an insurrection. It will draw energy away. It might send disturbing dreams. It will stir up the symptoms that we just named. It's trying to stop us from going down a certain path while also saying, "You have not been paying attention to your inner life, and it's time to bring things back into balance." We might begin then by asking, where am I out of balance? One of the ways that we do emotional violence to ourselves is to say yes to too many things. And here's a few words I addressed to my students at Fordham Prep. We talked about our internal secretary that's a member of our inner committee, and he wants to say yes to everything, with good intentions, of course. wants to say yes to activities, to sports, to social life. Well, another voice, the liar, tells us that we should be able to do all these things really well. Maybe even it tells us we should do it perfectly. The liar speaks in shoulds and stirs up a compulsive desire to do more and more and more. One of the lessons you will learn as you grow up is that you have limits of time, of energy, of resources, of attention. The reality is that you can do a few things well, but you will have to learn to say no to other things and let go what might have been possible if you taken those other paths. We call this the sacred no. Adults are sometimes put into situations where we are expected to take on more and more work and do this for the good of the company or the institution or whatever it is. And I acknowledge that sometimes there is an implicit threat that if you don't do this, we will find somebody else who will. But that expectation to take on more and more is ultimately out of touch with reality, and it betrays a lack of humanity and humility because it doesn't recognize human limits. So we might learn to say something like, given the responsibilities and projects on my plate, I would not be able to do a good job if I took on these additional responsibilities, and my other work would suffer. We can acknowledge what our no means to the other. We might say, I realize this puts the task back in your hands, and I'm sorry I can't be more helpful. A firm but kind no is a sacred no in circumstances like these. This is humbling, and it can be hard to say, but it also sets boundaries and protects us from overextension. How might we care for ourselves then when our body and soul start sending the signs that we're burning the candle at both ends? I want to note that when I say self-care, I'm not talking about self-indulgence, and I think that that's a risk and a temptation. When we say self-care, that too can become a way of avoiding what we really need to face that's going on inside when it leads into a sense of self-indulgence. But I think authentic self-care might look like this. Number one, we see burnout as a call from the soul to turn inward to what we call the water of life. Ask yourself, what really brings me joy? You might think of what you deeply enjoyed as a child. What did you want to be when you grew up, when you were a child? What was the idea of your future that brought you joy? And how might you tap into that now, perhaps updating it for who you are now? Number two, get the rest you need. And say no to those things that sabotage you being able to do that. For example, we might come home feeling exhausted. So then we say, I'll watch TV or play this video game until 2 a.m. instead of going to sleep. When we start to smell the smoke of burnout, there is a temptation to move toward soothing addictions. It might be hours of TV or gaming or drink or food or whatever it is. And we turn to that instead of authentic rest. So let's be aware that the addictions are lurking in the shadows of burnout. Number three, spend some time in nature. Sitting in front of screens all day is a radical departure from how we evolved and what we have been doing as human beings for thousands of years. When we reestablish contact with natural places, I think that's where we will most readily find rest, the ability to recharge and heal. Number four, slow the process down. When someone asks you to take on something new, say, I'll get back to you. Or you can simply say, no thank you, as we discussed earlier. Number five, ask for help. Invite God into the chemistry of what is happening, and also share with someone you trust about how you're feeling. If we can share it, we can bear it. We don't have to navigate feelings of burnout alone, and trying to do so will only make it worse. Finally, let's look to the role modeling of Jesus himself. When he was feeling overwhelmed, he simply walked away to be by himself. He walked away from toxic people and he let them walk away from him. And he did this without apology and without feelings of shame or unhealthy guilt. Again, he would not allow himself to be burned out. And he looks on us now with understanding and solidarity because he knows what it feels like. And let's remember his words. Come to me, all you that are weary and are carrying heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. And with that, let's go into a few moments of meditation.